Yeah, that was the best scene in the whole movie. Except don't expect to see it. They just used it for the trailer to get asses in the seats.
Yeah, like a lot of the other 80s slasher movies, as we know, the poster art is usually what gets you into the theaters and whatnot, and usually ends up being the best part of the movie. And that's what we could pretty much say about this movie. Before we get into spoilers and everything, let's just go through the intro. We don't recommend you to go out of your way to see it.
L-Mid JBM from Mr. Creepshow now. Alright, let's kick it off.
It's got the girl from the Waltons, as we know.
Yeah, and you can also see her ass in this film.
Mary McDonaugh, who plays Aaron in
if you're into that sort of thing.
In the Waltons. Pretty much if you were born in the 80s, 70s, 60s, everyone grew up watching the Waltons. Or has seen it on the Hallmark Channel or whatnot. It also has Bill Paxton in it. And I don't even know how this guy gets so many roles. That's always perplexed me over time. I don't know if you're a fan of Bill Paxton or whatnot, but he's been in everything. Titanic. He was everywhere in the 90s. You couldn't, like, not see him in the 90s. Titanic.
It's because of his bloodline.
Twister. True Lies. Anyway. So let's start off this. It's like a stay-at-home budget. Like we were saying, the best scene is with like...
No, like I said, they use half their budget for the trailer that looks all dope, but that scene isn't even in the movie.
With like the guy from The Hills Have Eyes.
So
who's
really
like
the whole movie is really filler of just nothing and dead air. That dead, audio air, like...
And when I say they have a stay-at-home budget, they like shot it in California, even though... The whole time before I even saw this movie, I thought it was going to be like...
And it's 83.
Kind of like in the Midwest, kind of, you know?
And it's 83, which is really stuck in the 70s, which is really stuck in the late 60s, in terms of camera shooting style.
Yeah, they filmed it in 1981. They weren't able to release it until 1983.
But anyway, so it starts off and it's like mortuary,
the opening death scene
is like a slow motion filler of the guy, of her father getting killed with the bat. And you don't know who the killer is, and and then
they shoot it like a reenactment in like Unsolved Mystery style reenactment.
And she's like, "Daddy."
It's like with a baseball bat, and it's just terrible.
And then it just cuts to the two friends.
But the family ends up thinking it's an accidental death.
Yeah, they think it's an accident. They couldn't tell from the autopsy that he was bonked on his head before he went in the pool.
Yeah,
it was the 80s, friends.
So the girl in it is already, the final girl is already traumatized coming into the movie.
She has suppressed dreams.
Just like Chrissy in Friday the 13th Part 3. And anyway.
So then it cuts to the two friends and they're like, "Hey, should we not be here? What about your boss?" "Oh, it's okay. I'm fired, so he doesn't apply to me." And they're showing up there. He doesn't even explain why the hell they're even there. They're just like going through to get tires or something. But anyways, they witness the occult activity of like their boss, some ritual like the witches and crap.
We're gonna go over some things that stood out to us. We're not gonna go over every plot line.
No, but that's the main point because they put that in there to like.
The rest of this review is for people who have seen the movie. Go and watch it. You can watch it on YouTube if you're an 80s slasher fan.
But anyway, so they had that occultic thing at the beginning, so you think that has a big part of the movie. Because some guy in the hood starts following her around, But anyways, so then the friend gets killed.
At the beginning of the end, the soundtrack is like trippy, like electro style.
Oh yeah, pretty good soundtrack.
It adds a lot of suspense and quality to the film. But then in the middle of the film, it gets dry, and they do different soundtracks.
So in the beginning, his friend gets killed, and
that's like the only good death scene in the whole. It's the only prop
blood that you'll see until the end.
Yeah.
But anyway, so it cuts from there. You meet like the cast, like of like the friends at the high school, and freaking.
And where are they at? A roller rink because they're stuck in the 70s.
And you think these are the kids, like they're just setting the precedence. These
you
are
think
the kids
it's the cast that's gonna get
killed? Yeah, you think it's the kids that are gonna get killed, but they're not even in the rest of the movie until later towards the end, and it just focuses around the boyfriend and the girl. Like, yeah, my father was killed. I think he was murdered. Having her suppressed dreams.
Yeah.
So then they go to the cop station. The friend.
He doesn't even really worry about his friend. He just.
Yeah, I know. They go to the cop station. Yeah, just makes a little report, whatever.
Back then, it was kind of harder to tell stories and like and get the gist of everything because they didn't have mics on everyone. They didn't have grips to like hold mics over everyone, and
so they had to film
they just put the camera on. They didn't have a dolly to like
they
move
put the camera on their shoulder, and
they put the camera on the tripod in the corner, and they're like, "All right, roll it like a play."
Yeah, that's the '60s style of shooting. Set it up in the corner while someone does laundry.
Yeah,
film it for 3 minutes. They'll add good time to the movie.
There's this one scene where they're making out in front of the house, and is like with his girlfriend, and his parents come out and like call him in.
Sounds boring, doesn't it?
So you know he has to back road it to clam bake. He can't just bake in his driveway.
Oh wow. Anyways, so then it just cuts to just nothing, and freaking it's filled up the butt, and they're hanging out, and freaking the power goes on and on.
They keep on going in and out of the mortuary to investigate what's going on, what's with their friend.
But then, like, when they
also
talk
because
about
he reaches the seance of the...
Yeah, they talk about the occultic stuff, but then they don't even really talk about it.
And the mortuary isn't even a mortuary. It's just a warehouse that they rented out in California.
Yeah, on the docks, and like freaking when they first go in there, and the two kids are clowning
doesn't feel
around.
Like the traditional mortuary.
No, they find that M16 in one of the caskets, and he's like, "Hey," and it's just so retarded. I mean, it just insults your intelligence because they're just acting like kids. And not even talking about anything. Like, hey, we just saw a ritual. Hey, we just found an AK. But then they don't even say anything more about it. It's just so retarded. But go on.
Yeah.
So anyways.
And then the rest of it is just the couple filler. Him and his girlfriend.
So then they start finding out that her mom, he tells her that her mom was also one of the girls that he noticed in the ritual. He thinks. No, he doesn't think. He knows. He told her at the cemetery. Where we meet the other kid, the Mozart kid.
There's a lot of things that end up being loose ends that don't even really get explained. Yeah.
So we got that kid, who's another character, and so then they start following around her mom and the guy who owns the mortuary. Bill. And they see him talking to the cops. So they start following him and wondering what's going on. It's filled up the butt. I mean, you could walk away and make a sandwich and come back, and they're just still walking around, dead air, just following them. It's retarded.
Yeah. And then in one scene, the couple are like hanging around the fireplace, and then disco music like turns on.
Yeah, like I said, the power goes on and off, and they're like,
They're like, that's our cue for filler.
I know. They're like, let's not even check about what the power. What's wrong with the power? They're like, let's just dance. The music kicks on. I think
their exact words is, let's boogie.
Oh, that's what it was. It was embarrassing. But anyway, so then they go back.
But if it was shot in 04, they would have been like, let's get crunk. They
follow the mortuary guy back to the place, and they're doing like ESP rituals, and then it leads you off to a stray that hey, they're the good guys because they're like calling him the father, and they're like, hey, come, your daughter's depressed, and your mother and your wife needs help. So then you're like, okay, so they're using this evil for good.
Yeah.
Okay, they're not the bad guys, but then so I mean,
they're trying to communicate with the lost soul, the people that they've lost in their life, I think, is what it is.
And then so she goes back home, and that's when they then make out and like do it halfway.
They kind of treat the satanic rituals as like a red herring to the film, where you think that's it, but it really ends up being a straightforward psycho killer horror movie.
There's plot holes all over this thing. But anyways, so then they go back to her
loose
mansion.
End plot holes, yeah.
And like there's that night where she sleptwalk and the vampire killer.
One night she's tripping balls, and her mom freaking. One night she's tripping balls.
She sees this vampire character, this occult guy right here, and freaking. He tries to like kill her, but
it's like
her mom tells her,
no,
it's
the
just
crow.
a dream, it's just a dream.
And then she tries to tell her that Paul, what's his name, Bill Paxton's character, that he's psychotic.
The kid that they met, who's the son of the mortuary guy, the owner.
And she's just like, and then they toast for world peace over brandies.
Oh wow, just steal it, okay. Yeah, I mean, like that's the other night that's the second night, you idiot, where she stabs through the window, and he's at the window, and he's like, let me in. This vampire character, a cult character, whatever, and she's like, and she breaks the glass with a knife.
Most of the time,
and then they come in, she's like, oh, it's just a dream, and they fix her up her Band-Aid, and then she's like, you want some brandy? Right here in the scene, and then it's just embarrassing.
Yeah, most of the time we only have to
boring.
deal with a traumatized bitch at the end of the movie, then it goes to credits. This
No.
time we have to deal with a traumatized bitch the whole entire freaking
And then,
movie.
yes, and then they go back to bed in the same night, and then freaking the guy comes back and kills her, the mother, and it's a cutaway death scene in the dark, so you don't see
I
shit.
know, no one gets killed forever. It's
Oh,
just
yeah,
the
it goes
couple
on for,
flirting
like, the
around
next
for
couple-
40 minutes in the movie and then
And talking about nothing.
and snooping around the warehouse, which is the morgue they try to pass off
Yeah, and
as.
it's very boring, to be honest, but... So then the same night, the mother gets killed, and then she wakes up, and then this is really filmed for 6 minutes.
No, they try to pass the mom off as being content with being a widow, even though she's like blonde and like a desperate housewife in Beverly Hills. Like she'd be banging like the owner of the freaking mortuary. That would have been more entertaining or something, but no, they try to pass her off as being
So
a
then,
content widow.
the mom gets killed. She starts running, and then it's literally filled for like 6-7 minutes of her running forever through the. She leaves the house, runs through like the fields, runs through everywhere, hides someplace. The killer finally takes forever to get there, and then she runs away and goes back to the house. And then the killer finally gets there,
Wow.
and then you're like, okay, 10 minutes gone by and I see nothing. And the
bored.
plot hasn't advanced. And then he picks her up,
That's
and
just
she's
bringing back my memories
she's passed
of boredom.
out. She's passed out, and he carries her like it's the end of freaking Halloween, and he's freaking carrying her. And he takes her to the mortuary. And the boyfriend just somehow knows. Yeah, and then this is where it cuts back to finally, the boyfriend like, yeah, we had a fight, and and he's with the other kids that you saw at the beginning, the high school kids that had nothing to even do with the whole movie, and they don't even get killed.
So he
then
goes to the morgue
he
for
goes
the
to
final
mortuary.
showdown. Yeah,
for
we
the
know.
showdown, and we find out that the killer is the psychotic Paul kid.
Bill Paxton's character. He's like a textbook psychopath.
Yeah, he looks like what's his name from
He's-
Psycho.
He mimics society. He likes
Did
Mozart.
he have a motive?
He
I
likes
don't think so.
he likes vinyl records. Did Norman Bates have a motive?
No,
Did Billy Loomis have a motive?
no.
Yeah. Sydney's mom slept with their dad,
It's a different topic.
but he was still psychotic.
So he's psychotic, and he ends up, tranquilizing her, and he's bringing off her top, and then they cut away, and it's really boring.
He goes to embalm her,
Yeah, he goes to embalm her.
and his dad shows up,
I
and
think
you're
it's
like,
called a torker.
it's a troker. And
Troker, yeah.
Just shut up right now.
Okay.
Let me just take it over from here.
Take it
His
over.
dad shows up, and we finally get the
A plot advance.
get the feeling that we're gonna get the plot summed up and these loose ends tied up now. And he explains to him that, and then the son's just like, I had to kill the doctor, and he just tries to talk him out of it and whatnot, like he's a good guy,
Well, the father explains
even though he's
that-
been talking to the devil the whole time.
Well, his father explains that his mom was psychotic or suicidal, and then
So he inherited her psychotic genes.
and then he also he's psychotic, and he thought that he could take better care of him than the insane asylum. So, but then he kills the doctor who was recommending him
Yeah.
because he's telling.
What we
Cause he's telling
find
him
out
that,
is
because he's telling him that what the hell's going on because I just talked to the cop. His father's telling him that I just got done talking.
it's
to the
hard to
cop,
put it
asked
all
him about
together,
it.
but her mom or her dad who got killed in the beginning, he was actually his psychiatrist, Paul's psychiatrist, and that's why he killed him because
Paul killed him
because her dad wanted to put him away, so he
And
kills
also
her,
that
and he
he
also
wanted-
had a crush on
He
her.
also wanted to marry her, and he didn't
He
get
wouldn't want,
permission.
he wouldn't want.
So he
his
kills
daughter
him,
to-
and then he kills his other doctor, and then he kills his mom.
and you're like, he does have a
And he
motive
kills Josh,
over love.
the
Like,
kid that-
wow.
Well, that's the motive. He's psychotic, and he wants to marry her.
Psychopaths are douchebags. Sociopaths are better if you know them.
Well, you got to get to know him. You got to know one to get to know him.
And he stabs his dad with the troker, the embalming pitchfork thing. I thought it was a
Oh
poker.
yeah, and this is where you finally get to see blood until the end of the movie, where they bring out a little bit of corn syrup.
It's like a wannabe Happy Birthday to Me, where her boyfriend.
Not even close. Don't advance that. I haven't seen that movie yet. Don't tell him.
No, I'm just saying how they bring all the dead bodies to one gathering for the
Okay,
wedding.
that's too much. You just did a spoiler of another movie.
Everyone
People
knows
are gonna
that
hate
part
us.
in Happy Birthday to Me.
Okay, anyways, so then the boyfriend shows up. He walks in.
It's 10 minutes of filler with
10
the
minutes of
boyfriend.
he walks in on him him balling her or whatever, getting her ready, and then he follows around with the choker and he's hiding from him. And then he gets locked into another room and he's like, "You bastard, you son of a bitch," and it's really boring, to be honest.
And he's like, I planned it for a while, because psychopaths to plan things.
No, this is the only funny part where it cuts to the Mozart and he has all the bodies around, like you're saying, the dead.
Then it turns into
mom.
like a black comedy ending, and you're like, wow.
How so?
It's kind of like comical ending, like how he's like
Psychotic.
like he's how
And
he's
the Mozart music.
theatrically orchestrating the Mozart music with his vinyl record. Anyway,
How does the boyfriend even get out of that room? Oh yeah, he gets the axe and just.
he gets out of it through 10 minutes of filler. And then Christy wakes up and bonks Paul in the head with a freaking axe. Like, she doesn't even like kill him, and they didn't even think it
And then
out.
he's like,
it's
"It's
like
okay."
the makeup artist like died halfway through making this movie or something.
Yeah, so freaking. And then he's like, "It's okay." No, and he also picks up that M16 that's in the casket that we saw in the beginning of the movie, and then he starts, "I'll shoot you," and he shoots him, and he's like, "It's blanks." I'm psychotic. I have an M16 with blanks just sitting around in this mortuary.
Terrible.
And you're like, who wrote this in the script? But anyways, so then the bitch who's dead, who's his mom, who isn't dead, she gets up right here, and this is the ending of the movie. It's a freeze frame right here of this exact
That's
shot.
exactly the last shot of the movie. Freeze frame of that. And you're
And
like,
it's like,
let me say this. It was a poor attempt at a twist ending, and you're like, okay.
It's one of those movies we have where they got all these different,
No, they were like, we need a twist, because every other...
subplot.
Shut up, because they need because they're like, oh, we need to fit in with all the other ones. We need a twist ending like all the other slasher movies.
And it's just a poor attempt because you got all these plot holes, and then this is just another main plot hole. Like, okay, she's alive and she's a killer, and why?
No, because they're both psychotic. They already released it. That's all.
No, she wasn't psychotic. She was suicidal.
Yeah, because
Big
she's
difference.
psychotic. That's what it implies. And he inherited her psychotic genes. You could go all online, and no one really talks about this ending, even reviews on YouTube.
Well, what they do
So this
say
is our
is-
attempt to try and explain the ending. Anyway, overall. And we're trying to, and I'm comparing this to other 80s slasher movies. So with that consciously in mind, 6.5 out of 10 compared to other slasher movies.
Wow, that's
you just gotta
generous.
love the genre. Anyway, this was
generous.
JBM
Shut the
and
hell up.
L-Mid.
Shut the freak up. It was more like a freaking 3.4. Terrible. The only thing that was good is the trailer, and that trailer isn't even in the freaking movie.
All right, leave a comment.
Check out the other collections and reviews.
Give us some
Give us your opinion if you've
suggestions.
seen it. What is your interpretation
Yeah,
of this shitty
definitely.
ending?
And give us some suggestions for other 80s slasher movies.